This is my 2007 Subaru Outback. It's not much to look at. Some people would probably even call it an NPC car. But this Subaru has quite the story. It's currently sporting this tired old EJ that I pulled out of a Forester that I pulled out of a forest, coincidentally. And it also has this 5-speed manual that I swapped into it, in place of that boring factory automatic that it came with. While I was in there, I also swapped out the stained tan interior that it came with this nice black one from another Outback, as well as this Starlight headliner that I made that I spent way too much money and time on. But why spend all this time and money on this tired old Outback? Well, I was looking for a car that I could wrench on and not feel bad if I broke something. Something that could take on these harsh Canadian winters that we have. Something that had a hatch that had lots of space, and most importantly, something that was really cheap. Seemed to check all the boxes. So now we have a car. It's easy to work on, it's a beast in the snow, and it's not rotted out, which is pretty uncommon for cars over here. But what are we going to do with it now? Well, I have some mods I'm really ambitious about, but I don't want to install into a car that's too nice in case we fail miserably. Remember, this is my daily driver, but as any car guy can relate to, you can't stop around with the daily. I mean, I already manual swapped it when it had a perfectly fine automatic just right there ready to go. And plus, I've seen some really nice modded examples of these cars on the internet, and mine is not that. So I thought I would document my journey as a car enthusiast, and maybe you can learn something, or maybe you'll just laugh at me for my lack of experience, because I'm not a mechanic, and everything I know is self-taught, and it's not much. But what I lack in knowledge, I certainly make up for with ambition, as you will see. I do also have plans for other projects down the line, not just this Outback. I mean, I have this Vortec 4200 sitting right here, with an AR5 manual ready to go, but it's just that it's the middle of a Canadian winter and I have no garage, just this shed. So we're going to do the Subaru for now. We're going to start small and just add a few different interior bits just to make everything feel a little bit more premium. I already swapped in this black interior, which includes everything from the bottom half of the car. That's the carpet, the seats, all the door panels, and all the related trim. These wood grain bits in the door panel used to be silver, but I drilled them out and replaced them with these wood grain ones from a 2005 LL Bean edition by just drilling out the holes and melting the plastic back in once I put the wood grain bits on there. They're not supposed to be interchangeable, but we made it work. I also swapped out the e-brake handle for this leather one, also from the LL Bean. I didn't get these parts from a junkyard. I actually bought another Outback that's an LL Bean edition, and it was totally rotted out, and I just robbed everything out of it. Including the EZ30 engine. If you're not familiar with that, it's a 3-liter flat 6 that makes wicked sounds, and it's also sitting just off camera over here. So our first task is going to be this rear view mirror, and I also sourced it from the LL Bean. My original one was fine, but it had a little bit of gray texture coming through, and I think it was because the glue underneath maybe. Either way, this one's a little bit more premium, so we had to switch it out. This mirror came with auto dimming, which my car did not. So we're just going to tuck those wires and figure that out in the future. Next, I grabbed these little guard pieces from the engine bay of the Bean. And I don't know if they were aftermarket or factory. You can let me know in the comments, but they looked cool and added a little bit of something, so I took those as well. So now for the main event. Again, sourced from the Bean. It's a little beat up, but man, what a cool piece to have. Factory, wood grain, MOMO steering wheel. Maybe I'm getting excited over something stupid, and these are really common, but out of hundreds of Outbacks and Legacies that I've seen, this is the first one I've seen, so I had to grab it. And I think it's a pretty cool piece to have in my car. I think it matches well. So when I originally got this wheel out of the car, as soon as I bought the Bean, it was the first thing that I stole from it. The silver bits where the buttons go was really worn out and it looked really bad. So I took it apart and did an awful job of trying to spray paint it. So we're going to wrap it with black before we put it back in the car. My car never came with steering wheel controls, so it's kind of useless to us right now anyway, but we're going to revisit that in the future when we install a new stereo. Alright, so now I'll show you the process in case you also have a Subaru from this era. Now remember, I'm not a mechanic, so quick little disclaimer, you shouldn't follow my advice on your own car. I'm just showing my process of how I did it. So first thing is to get the battery disconnected and let it sit for quite a few minutes so the airbag doesn't go off accidentally when you're playing with it. Then we're going to hop in the car, and as you can see, this is the common regular wheel from this era. If you look just under here on both sides, you'll find this hole that has a Torx bit. You'll have to loosen that to remove the airbag. I use this T20 bit to loosen them both, and the airbag popped right off. On the back, you should notice these 3 wires. I have no idea in which order you're supposed to disconnect these, so I just clenched my ass cheeks and prayed there's no wrong order. They do have this little yellow warning written in a bunch of different languages, but I didn't pay that any attention. So now we're going to disconnect the rest of these wires and get our 18mm to take that big main nut off. Pro tip, you can make a mark on the back of the wheel and on the nut with a Sharpie, so you know that when you reinstall the nut that it's in the right spot. Even bigger pro tip, and you should actually listen to this one, when you loosen the nut, don't take it all the way off the threads just yet. Actually give the steering wheel a yank and get it loose before you pop that off. I've had these wheels get stuck on me before and I really had to pull on them hard, and when they pop off you kind of fly backwards and you risk damaging your clock spring. You don't want that clock spring to rotate any farther than it normally would. Actually, it's easy if you just don't rotate it at all. Some people suggest taping it up in place so it can't move, but I've had more luck just being extremely careful with it, as I tend to rotate it as I'm trying to tape it up. So now we're going to wrap all these buttons black like we said and get them reinstalled back onto the wheel. Once that's done, we'll put the wheel back carefully, making sure that the splines are all in the same spot and the clock spring is in the correct place. Plug everything back in. Don't forget the big nut or else you're going to lose your wheel next time you take a really sharp turn. Fit the airbag back in place and tighten those Torx bolts up nice and tight. So there you have it. The wheel is installed and it looks pretty good, I think. I know this video is kind of all over the place, but I really wanted to introduce myself, the car, and show what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. But I didn't want to leave it at just that. I wanted to have a little extra in there, so that's why we did the wheel. The next video should be a little more straightforward and not all over the place. So if you liked what you've seen today, hopefully you stick around, and we'll see you again in the future. I have 10 months worth of content planned for this channel, involving this car and some other cars. Also some vlogs about going to different car shows around the Maritimes. So if anything of that interests you, please subscribe. And hopefully by the time that 10 months is up, I'll have a garage and we can really get into some serious restorations. But don't count me out yet. I think what I have planned is still very interesting.